missile strike inside Russian territory by Ukraine. This verified security video circulating online shows an attack on a Russian oil depot. What could be a new potential escalation in the war. Another video showing flames and thick black smoke billowing from that depot, the same day the countries resumed peace talks in Turkey. Rush to escape Mariupol. 100,000 people need to get out of that city to safety. The grueling effort to save lives in one of the hardest hit areas of Ukraine. A final farewell to young soldiers who lost their lives defending Ukraine from a brutal invasion. Tonight, the toll of war firsthand, as family, friends, and comrades bury the brave men and women who stood up and fought.
He protected me, my kids. He even protected you.
Post-slap chaos. It's the live TV moment that stunned the world, including the Oscars' lead producer, who sat down exclusively with ABC to talk about the confusion and the conversations just moments after Will Smith hit Chris Rock. Smith's missed opportunity and what Chris Rock may not have known before making that joke about Jada Pinkett Smith.
It was such a huge moment and such a sad and disappointing moment that it wasn't something that we were going to come back from within that night, within this week. I don't know when we'll come back and people will be talking about anything else.
Grocery store strain, food prices soaring, the largest 12-month hike in more than 40 years. Beef, poultry, eggs, fruit. Just how much you'll pay for these kitchen staples. Hanging up her hat, 100-year-old Betty Reed Soskin, the nation's oldest park ranger, is retiring after years of teaching history that she lived through herself. Also known for being one of the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement. ABC News looks back at her legacy. And good evening. I'm Phil Lipoff in for Lindsay Davis tonight. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We begin tonight with a potential new front in the battle for Ukraine as Russia today accused Ukrainian helicopters of attacking an oil storage facility inside Russia, a charge that Ukraine has not confirmed or denied. Russia's Ministry of Emergencies releasing this video of an oil depot on fire. It's about 20 miles from Ukraine. And tonight we have new images of the destruction in the towns that Ukraine has been able to take back from Russian forces. The Kyiv suburb of Irpin now resembling a ghost town. Nearly every home either burned or destroyed. And the southern port city of Mariupol remains under fire as Russian forces dig in, waging urban warfare. Roughly 100,000 Ukrainians remain trapped there as resources begin to dwindle. A Red Cross convoy attempting evacuations today was actually turned back. As the fight rages on, we begin tonight with ABC's James Longman in Kyiv.
Tonight, an astonishing admission. Moscow saying Ukraine carried out this airstrike on fuel depots inside Russia. That's the first time Russia has admitted to an attack by Ukraine since the invasion began. In these videos posted online, watch as missiles, apparently fired from 2 helicopters, rain down on the fuel tanks. They're located some 20 miles from the Ukrainian border.
Flying low to evade radar, the helicopters make their escape. Ukraine's defense ministry spokesman later saying he could neither confirm nor deny that Ukraine was responsible. This as peace talks continue. Ukraine's chief negotiator telling ABC News that negotiating positions change day to day depending on battlefield gains or losses, which makes talks, quote, extremely difficult.
Ukrainian forces claiming to have beaten back the Russians in towns and villages across this country. Despite consistent shelling, like at this airport near Kyiv, Russian troops have moved back from the capital. These areas show the closest the military got to Kyiv compared with today. But Ukrainian President Zelensky acknowledging that the situation in the south and Donbass regions remain difficult. Further complicating his war efforts, the president has fired 2 high-ranking members of the Ukrainian Secret Service. In his latest address, he called them traitors.
And in Mariupol, the nightmare continues. Russian-backed soldiers laying waste to the city with grenade launchers. And terrified citizens shelled. Here, wandering through the aftermath, streets now littered with rubble. For days, a large evacuation for the city has been stalled. The Red Cross saying arrangements and conditions made it impossible to proceed. At Chernobyl, from which Russian troops have now fled, officials say that radiation levels around the decommissioned nuclear plant are normal, although movement of heavy military vehicles may have caused higher levels of localized radiation as Russian forces left the area.
We heard about the possibility of some personnel being contaminated, but we don't have any confirmation about that.
Outside the capital, a Ukrainian patrol have recently recaptured Irpin. There is still danger here. Now a ghost town of burnt-out buildings. Residents who stayed described the horror they witnessed. It was very scary, Lilia says. I was frightened when the Russians came to check things out. I thought they'd execute us. Lilia and her son Artur were afraid to leave during the Russian occupation. She says now that the Russians are gone, the city is quiet. When our army came, then I fully understood. We have been liberated, she says. It was happiness beyond imagination. In recently liberated Ivankiv, a local official posting this photo showing joyful residents posing with the Ukrainian flag.
And James joins us now from the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv. James, do we know what's happened to the generals fired by Zelensky?
Well, we don't know a lot, Phil. This is the first time that President Zelensky has actually commented on either of these generals. We do know they've both been stripped of their command. One of them, it's understood, actually fled Ukraine before this invasion began. But President Zelensky did go on to praise other Ukrainians in his address, calling them heroes for continuing the defense of their country. Phil?
James, I want to go back to that attack inside Russia. I want your opinion on how significant it is that Russia admitted that it happened and any sense of why they would do that.
Well, Phil, it does kind of feel huge. I mean, there have been other apparent alleged attacks by Ukraine in this war, at least 2 others, possible missile strikes inside Russia. No one on this side has, admitted to carrying them out. And it's only a governor in Russia who said at the time that they may have happened. But now we've got Moscow saying it, the Russian Defense Ministry admitting that their territory has been violated. And not just that, that their airspace has been violated. This isn't just a missile attack. This is Ukrainian helicopters in Russian airspace. So on the one hand, Russia has to say that this has happened, has to admit it, but on the other, it kind of is wanting to play it down. We've been speaking to colleagues in Moscow who are saying that the government there has to kind of walk this fine line. On the one hand, talk about Ukrainian aggression, but on the other, not seen to be weak. It's very interesting, Phil.
Yeah, it is. Let's see what happens with the peace talks as well, if it affects it. James Longman from Kyiv tonight. Thank you. And as fighting continues to rage inside Ukraine, citizens in Poland are bracing for the worst if the conflict were to spread. And that's prompted a surge in enlistments in Poland's equivalent of our National Guard. ABC's Maria Villarreal got exclusive access inside Poland's Territorial Defense Ministry, where some unlikely recruits, new recruits, are training to defend their families and their country.
The war in Ukraine is redefining what a patriot looks like, turning regular citizens into soldiers overnight, an unintended consequence that's now become a point of inspiration. More than 500 miles away from most of the major fighting, in a wooded area north of Warsaw, Poland, we visited the Polish Territorial Defense Force, where instructors are taking on a new class of soldiers.
Why did she decide to do this? Why is this time so important?
It's connected to the war in Ukraine. When the war broke out, I wanted to learn military skills to defend my family, my home, and my local community.
The Polish Territorial Defense Force is the 5th branch of the country's military. Made up solely of volunteers, it's similar to the National Guard in the United States. Małgorzata Zielnicka is married with 2 children.
I did my first training half a year ago, but I decided to come back again just to refresh my skills. I just talked to my son today, and he said I made a very good decision.
He's proud of you.
Syn jest z pani dumny.
Sure. Yes. Since the war broke out in Ukraine, interest in joining has grown 7-fold.
We've got people 18 years old and 50 years old. We've got men, women, we've got teachers, we've got doctors, we've got everybody, all society we've got here to protect and defend their families.
Part of that interest includes more women enlisting in the program.
Yes, there are more than before. In 2021, there used to be about 10,000 women in the Polish military, and there are a lot more now.
My family and my friends, they are happy that I'm brave enough to do it.
This program lasts for about 16 days, and these women are training behind the gates for about 12 hours a day. They focus on weapon skills and tactical maneuvers. If they were ever called on to serve, the role of these soldiers would require them to stay close to home, carrying out the mission of the military within their own communities.
What brought me here is my patriotism for my homeland.
The ongoing war providing proof that patriotism extends well beyond the battlefield.
It most definitely does. Maria, thank you so much. Will Smith, who just won an Oscar for Best Actor, has now resigned from the Academy. He stepped down and apologized, all in a statement. It's continued fallout from the slapping comedian Chris Rock at the award show Sunday night. Rock made a joke about Smith's wife, Jada. Producer Will Packer, who led the first all-black Oscars producing team, sat down exclusively with ABC News, opening up to TJ Holmes about what was happening behind the scenes. Packer talked about why Smith stayed in the audience and what Chris Rock may not have known about Jada Pinkett Smith. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, the producer of the Oscars, Will Packer, revealing that, like millions of Americans, he thought Will Smith striding onto the stage was part of a gag.
I thought this was part of something that Chris and Will were doing on their own. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit like everybody else. I knew he hadn't practiced it.
Not concerned.
I wasn't concerned at all.
As he's walking.
I figured, okay, you know, he's going to say something or come at him. Something funny is going to happen because that's the nature of Chris and that's the nature of Will. So let's see what happens.
Uh-oh. What actually happened, he told our TJ Holmes, was no joke.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
That now infamous moment coming after an unscripted joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Pinkett Smith has been open about her battle with alopecia. A longtime friend of Chris Rock's said he did not know about the condition. After that slap, Will Smith's reaction...
Keep my wife's name out your mouth! I'm going to, okay?
...brought reality crashing in.
Once I saw Will yelling at the stage with such vitriol, my heart dropped. And I just remember thinking, oh no, not like this. And Chris was keeping his head when everybody else was losing theirs.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
And even then, says Packer, he needed to verify that what he and millions of others had just seen was real.
I said, did he really hit you? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah. He goes, I just took a punch from Muhammad Ali, as only Chris can. He was immediately, you know, in joke mode, but you could tell that he was very much still in shock. And he was telling me, I'm fine. Let's just get past this. I'm getting out of here. I can't believe this happened.
The LAPD already on the scene for security, then speaking to Chris Rock in Packer's office.
They were saying, this is battery. We will go get him. We are prepared. We're prepared to get him right now. You can press charges. We can arrest him. As they were talking, Chris was, he was being very dismissive of those options. He was like, no, I'm fine. He was like, no.
The Academy says Will Smith was asked to leave, but that he refused. But once there was no arrest, it would have been the Academy's decision to physically remove Smith.
A lot of folks immediately wondered why he got up, walked that far, assaulted somebody, went back to his seat and was allowed to stay.
Right.
What was the conversation behind the scenes?
Shayla told me that they were about to physically remove Will Smith. And I had not been a part of those conversations.
Packer says he didn't speak directly to Will Smith that night, but he did talk to his publicist.
I said to the publicist, the Academy is not going to remove him. And she looked at me and said, thank God.
I bet that was her reaction. Matt Gutman joins us now. Matt, what more can you tell us about that statement Will Smith has released?
I mean, it really is a bombshell, Phil. Came out just moments ago. Will Smith apologizing again, really noting this time how many people he hurt, adding that his actions were shocking, painful, and inexcusable, saying that he betrayed the trust of the Academy. And that's why he's saying that he is resigning from the Academy, because he no longer wants to be a distraction. He wants them and everybody else to begin the process of moving forward. Phil.
All right, Matt Gutman, thank you. If you're already feeling the pain at the pump, you might be wondering if those same pains are going to be coming to the grocery store. Well, it seems like they are. Inflation jumped 6.4% in February compared to a year ago. That's the largest year-to-year rise in 40 years, according to the Commerce Department. ABC News' Alex Perez reports on the current American struggle to put food on the table.
Tonight, new data shows employers are on a hiring spree. 431,000 jobs added in March, unemployment dropping to 3.6%, the lowest rate since just before the pandemic. But all that overshadowed by soaring inflation, now at a 40-year high.
I know that this job is not finished. We need to do more to get prices under control.
Today, a family of four can expect to pay $200 more on the cost of their monthly groceries than last year. That's a jaw-dropping increase of more than 30%. Cost of meat up 14%, eggs up 11.4%, fresh fruit more than 10%. Here in Chicago, demand at this food pantry is at an all-time high. More than 6,000 families coming here for groceries in March, up 20% from January.
They're having to make choices between paying their rent or paying their utility bills and putting food on the table.
Among them, Elsie, here with her 3-month-old Carlos and her social worker Carla. Even with her husband's full-time job, the family says they can't afford to go to the grocery store.
All the other costs have been increasing, so now they're struggling.
And this is going to cause a lot of people to struggle. Alex Perez joins us now. Alex, any idea how these rising prices are impacting manufacturers?
Well, Phil, because of the high cost of production, a lot of manufacturers are downsizing and shrinking their products, but not their prices. And that's leaving a lot of people paying more for less. Phil?
All right, Alex Perez, thank you. Sex, drugs, and Congress, those are the stunning claims by North Carolina Congressman Madison Cawthorne. Today, party members strongly denouncing his accusations. One party leader even summoning him to his office. ABC congressional correspondent Rachel Scott with the details.
He's the youngest member of Congress, a rising star in the Republican Party, a leading Trump supporter speaking at that rally on January 6th.
My friends, I will tell you right now that there's a new Republican Party rising.
But tonight, Republicans say that after a string of controversies, Congressman Madison Cawthorne has finally crossed the line with his claim that people in Washington, presumably GOP lawmakers, invited him to sex parties and used cocaine.
I look at all these people, a lot of them that I've looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics, guys that, then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, well, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me to come to? Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Yeah. Or the fact that, there's some of the people that are leading on the movement to try and remove, addiction in our country. And then you watch them do, a key bump of cocaine right in front of you.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, who has been reluctant to discipline other members for making outrageous comments, summoned Cawthorne to his office for a scolding.
He's lost my trust. He's going to have to earn it back. He's got a lot of members very upset.
McCarthy telling reporters Cawthorne did not tell the truth.
He claims he watched people do cocaine. No, then when he comes to tell me, he says, he thinks he saw maybe a staffer in a parking garage from 100 yards away and tell me that he doesn't know what cocaine is. It's just frustrating.
Sources say the Republican leader asked Cawthorne to publicly apologize, but so far, Cawthorne has refused. His Republican colleagues infuriated.
What did you make of those comments?
Well, irresponsible. Irresponsible.
What he's saying can't possibly be true.
I just think it puts us in bad light.
Rachel Scott joins us now. Rachel, what has been the reaction from North Carolina's senators about Cawthorne's claims?
Yeah, well, both of the Republican senators from North Carolina say they will actually not back Cawthorne in his upcoming primary. They called him an embarrassment, saying that he lacks the most basic standards of a congressman. But let me tell you, he still does have one big name in his corner, and that is Donald Trump. The former president announced today that Cawthorne will be a special guest at his rally in North Carolina, Phil.
All right, congressional correspondent Rachel Scott, thank you. And when we come back, former U.S. soccer star Hope Solo arrested. We have details. The Coalition of Attorneys General urging social media platforms to do more to protect children. But up next, more of our exclusive interview with the lead producer of the Oscars speaking publicly about the behind-the-scenes chaos after that infamous slap.
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time. In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil.
You have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
The hottest views in daytime are happening right here.
We talk about things on this show that people don't talk about.
That I can't wait to see. Honest takes from strong women.
We need all hands on deck, and we need it right now. This is the time to speak out.
Unafraid to get real.
We stick by our points of view.
We're all seeing it differently, and that's the beauty of The View.
And that's why the most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
Is that the gun?
That's not the gun.
What is it? I won't ask you again then. Are you a Nazi?
The deeper you go into black markets,
you put your life at risk.
the darker it gets.
Why hasn't anyone come out and spoken?
It's about the money. That's why we do it.
Trafficked. New episodes Wednesdays at 9 on National Geographic.
Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now. America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news, free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
Welcome back. Former U.S. soccer star Hope Solo was arrested in North Carolina for allegedly driving while intoxicated, resisting arrest, and child abuse. That last charge was because she was with her 2-year-old twins in the car when she was pulled over. Solo won 2 gold medals and a World Cup with the U.S. women's national team. It's a story that continues to evolve. In a statement tonight, Will Smith says he is resigning from the Academy after slapping comedian Chris Rock on stage Sunday, minutes before winning the Oscar for Best Actor. In an exclusive interview with ABC News, the lead producer of the Oscars, Will Packer, says it started as a night dedicated to inclusivity, with historic wins making for historic moments. But that energy all quickly shifted when Smith hit Rock, stunning Packer and the world. As a longtime friend of Rock says he didn't know if Jada Pinkett Smith, Rock didn't know about Jada Pinkett Smith's alopecia condition before he made that joke about her on Sunday. Here's our TJ Holmes.
And the Oscar goes to...
Will Smith won his first Oscar Sunday and got a standing ovation. This was minutes after slapping Chris Rock on stage. Show producer Will Packer says the optics of celebrating Smith so soon after that shocking moment weren't lost on him, but offered another viewpoint.
You know, I probably have a different perspective on that, TJ, because I was in the room and I know a lot of those people. And so it wasn't like this was somebody they didn't know. It doesn't make anything that he did right, and it doesn't excuse that behavior at all, but I think that the people in that room who stood up stood up for somebody who they knew, right? Who was a peer, who was a friend, who was a brother, who has a 3 decades plus long career of being the opposite of what we saw in that moment. I think these people saw the person that they know and were hoping that somehow, some way, this was an aberration. He's gonna stand on stage and maybe Chris Rock comes from the back and says, we got you all, you know. I don't think that these were people that were applauding anything at all about that moment. And all these people saw their friend at his absolute worst moment and were hoping that they could encourage him and lift him up and that he would somehow try to make it better.
Smith apologized to the Academy and his fellow nominees during his acceptance speech, but not to Chris Rock, something Packer says was a missed opportunity after striking Rock.
Do you wish Will Smith had left after that? Do you wish he did not remain a part of your ceremony?
I think what many of us were hoping was that he would go on that stage and make it better. It couldn't be made right in that moment because of what had happened. But I think we were hoping that he would make it better, that he would stand on that stage and say what just happened minutes ago was absolutely and completely wrong. Chris Rock, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. That's what I was hoping for. I felt like he was gonna win, and I was hoping that if he stayed, he said that.
Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things.
If he wasn't going to give that speech, which made it truly better, then yes. Yes, because now you don't have the optics of somebody who committed this act, didn't nail it in terms of a conciliatory acceptance speech in that moment, who then continued to be in the room.
But just an hour before Will Smith's Oscar win, the 94th Academy Awards was celebratory. A renewed energy, vibe, and flair to the ceremony. There were show-stopping musical numbers. And 3 hosts delivering laughs.
Where movie lovers unite and watch TV.
But that all changed in an instant.
You talk so much about how great the energy was in that room.
Yeah.
After the incident.
Yeah.
What happened to the energy in the room?
Sucked completely out of it. It was like somebody poured concrete in that room. It was this feeling of what just happened. Is this real? How am I supposed to react? So it sucked the life out of that room and it never came back.
Packer credits Chris Rock for his composure, which may very well have salvaged the night.
Because Chris handled the moment with such grace and aplomb, it allowed the show to continue. And if he had handled that differently in that moment, which it could have gone so many different ways, and because Chris continued the way that he did, he completed the category, he handed the trophy to Questlove, who was somebody else who I feel like was really robbed of their moment.
Thank you.
It gave us license in a way to continue the show, which is what we were trying to do. It was such a huge moment and such a sad and disappointing moment that it wasn't something that we were gonna come back from within that night, within this week. I don't know when we'll come back and people will be talking about anything else other than the show.
Chris Rock saved the Oscars that night? Did he save the show that night?
I think he did. I think he did. He certainly saved what was left of it at that point.
The night was filled with history-making, feel-good moments. Packer led the first all-black producing team. Ariana DeBose became the first Afro-Latina queer woman to win an acting Oscar. Coda won big.
I just wanted to say that this is dedicated to the deaf community, the Coda community, and the disabled community.
And also a big win of the night. After years of declining viewership, the ceremony rose over 60% from last year's broadcast.
A lot of people, they hear the ratings went up and they think the incident, the slap. But what was the highest rated moment of the night?
The highest rated moment was when Troy Kotsur won Best Supporting Actor, and as the first deaf man to win an Oscar, gave an incredible speech. It was heartfelt, it was funny. It's bittersweet because I've been getting a lot of love. A lot of people saying, man, I haven't watched the Oscars in years, and I really enjoyed it. It was a show that moved and was exciting, and there was so much inclusivity on the show. You had all these moments that are overshadowed now. So that's the bittersweet part of it, because I feel like it was a heck of a show and had some amazingly historical moments that I fear will be forgotten.
Our thanks to TJ for that interview. An Academy source tells us that, quote, Will Packer is speaking for himself. Still ahead here on Prime, the troubling signs people are now revealing about Bruce Willis's health condition in the days before his diagnosis was made public. A Trump-era policy that tied COVID to border rules is changing. We're going to have details for you on that. And we take a look at the Final Four by the numbers. But first, our tweet of the day, one of the better April Fool's tweets we saw.
The deeper you go into black markets, the darker it gets.
Trafficked, Wednesdays at 9 on National Geographic.
Right now, with so much at stake, Sunday mornings, this is the place. Taking on all the tough questions. Straightforward reporting. No spin, no hype, no bull. Thank you for making ABC's This Week with George Stephanopoulos the #1 Sunday morning news show versus the competition.
Welcome to This Week.
It was a scary time.
In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil.
We have this clock. This person is going to do this again.
It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
Is that the gun?
That's not the gun.
What is it? I won't ask you again then. Are you a Nazi?
The deeper you go into black markets,
You put your life at risk.
the darker it gets.
Why hasn't anyone come out and spoken?
It's about the money. That's why we do it.
Trafficked, new episodes Wednesdays at 9 on National Geographic.
These days, with so much going on, it's hard to keep up.
While others are recapping yesterday's headlines,
We're bringing you the right now.
This is the busy border crossing. Steel barricades, another strike.
The Right Now look at the day ahead, how it affects you and your family.
Record high gas prices.
The threat of cyber warfare.
Is peace possible?
World News Now beginning at 2 a.m. Eastern, followed by America This Morning.
America's #1 early morning news.
Streaming here on ABC News Live.
Take America's #1 news with you anywhere you go, anytime, free. Download the ABC News app now. Breaking news, exclusives, 24/7. There for you with one touch. The ABC News app. Download it now.
I risked my life. If I was caught, they would have put a bullet in my head.
That would have been one of the most deadly acts of domestic terrorism ever in the United States.
He put himself in jeopardy for us.
Welcome back. The NCAA Men's College Basketball Final Four is set for this weekend. Villanova against Kansas. Then after that, an epic matchup between longtime rivals UNC and Duke. So Let's take a look at the storied rival by the numbers. UNC entered the tournament as an 8th seed after beating Duke handily by 14 points in Coach K's final home game, helping UNC punch their ticket to the tournament. Meantime, Duke is a 2 seed, and Coach K, of course, is trying to go out on top as he retires after 42 years of coaching. This is Coach K's record 13th appearance in the Final Four. 2 wins would give him Duke's first national title since 2015. He's already won 5 titles in his legendary career. The Duke Blue Devils hold the advantage, 50 wins to 47 overall head-to-head matchups between the two programs. But surprisingly, the two teams have had 0 face-offs in the NCAA tournament, and 1. That's the number of concerts we know have been canceled as a result of this game. Country music star and diehard UNC fan Eric Church canceled his San Antonio concert Saturday night so he could be in attendance in New Orleans for the game. If you are interested in going alongside Church, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Some of the cheapest tickets in the 78,000-person Superdome are going for roughly $300. Cheapest tickets, with the priciest in excess of $10,000. Good luck to each of the 4 teams playing this weekend. We still have a ton to get to here on Prime. A major new change on how many miles to the gallon cars will get. He was one of the co-creators of the UK version of The Office, and now Stephen Merchant is out with a new project. We're going to speak with him. But first, a look at our top trending stories on abcnews.com.
Stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Now streaming on ABC News Live 2020. True crime, cinematic, real-life drama, stunning, the unthinkable. Follow the clues, the hunt. True crime 2020. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
My wife has fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
seems to change just about every day.
What is it that you really want to know, need to know?
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
Feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a 3rd hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
I know what happened, and I'm not guilty.
Why the fascination with criminal trials? Figure out what's really out there.
She revealed she had murdered his family.
I know in my heart they did this.
It's the time of suspicion.
The ending's really tough.
You don't know whether truth is going to be difficult to find unless you try to find it.
America's #1 news, ABC News. Most watched, most trusted, and streaming live to you anytime, anywhere, and free. This is ABC News Live, America's #1 streaming news, free to you 24/7. Watch America's #1 news whenever you want it, wherever you are, anytime. ABC News Live, streaming live and free on all platforms.
The controversial health order that prevented migrants and asylum seekers from entering the U.S. during the pandemic, known as Title 42, will end on May 23rd, says the CDC.
It's been known Title 42 would be ending as a COVID public health order, with most COVID rules going away. It was put into place under President Trump to restrict migrants and asylum seekers from entering the U.S. On May 23rd, it will be lifted. There is worry a flood of migrants could then head to the border, hoping to enter. The Department of Homeland Security says it is preparing for up to 18,000 migrants per day who could show up along the border.
The first union in American history.
Major victory for the labor movement in the U.S. Amazon workers on Staten Island voted this afternoon to unionize. It is the first successful organizing effort in the history of Amazon. More than 8,300 workers cast ballots on the issue, which was overseen by the National Labor Relations Board. The workers voted in favor of forming a union despite a heavy lobbying effort by the company. Many saw the vote as a rebuke over the way the company treats its workers. A vote to unionize Amazon workers in Alabama failed.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration putting new fuel economy standards in place. By 2026, new vehicles will have to average at least 40 miles per gallon.
Americans buying a new vehicle will spend less on gas than they would have if we hadn't taken this step.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration is undoing the rollback of standards which were put in place during the Trump administration.
The House of Representatives approved a bill decriminalizing marijuana and letting states set their own policies on pot. The House bill would expunge the records of people convicted of nonviolent cannabis offenses. It would install a sales tax on marijuana products, and it would allow the Veterans Administration to recommend medical marijuana to veterans living with post-traumatic stress disorder. However, the bill faces an uphill climb in the Senate and is unlikely to become law.
A coalition of attorneys general from 43 states and Washington, D.C. are expressing concern that TikTok and Snapchat are not doing enough to protect kids from online threats. Back in February, TikTok said it would take new steps to enforce limits on harmful content. The attorneys general acknowledged TikTok and Snapchat do provide some protections, just not enough. They are now pushing TikTok and Snapchat to conform with what they describe as industry practices and collaborate with parental control apps to allow parents to limit communication to a certain network of people, monitor private messages, and provide alerts to messages that can be dangerous. Just last month, Instagram implemented new safeguards for parents to monitor teens' activity. But there is a major caveat. As of now, the teen must initiate supervision to allow parents access to this account info.
Celebrating the career of Betty Reed Soskin, the National Park Service's oldest active park ranger, retiring at 100 years old.
That's me.
Betty retired after more than 15 years of service at the Rosie the Riveter World War II National Historical Park in Richmond, California.
It is so important that we go back and revisit history as it was lived in order to get a baseline against which to measure how far we've come.
Her work with the Park Service began after attending a presentation on the development of the park, insisting that the stories of women who worked in the wartime industry needed to be part of the park's material.
People need heroes, and I'm maybe one of those.
Throughout her career, Betty became a published author, songwriter, and activist during the civil rights movement.
Your hand in mine, this simple sign of love.
On her last day, Betty provided an interpretive program to the public and visited with friends.
A federal judge in New York has denied Ghislaine Maxwell's motion for a new trial. Maxwell was convicted of child sex trafficking for Jeffrey Epstein. She demanded a retrial after learning that before the trial started, a juror failed to disclose he was the victim of child sex abuse. The judge ruled that that juror did not withhold the information deliberately. Now to actor Bruce Willis and his battle with aphasia. New details are emerging about his condition, including concerns about his behavior on movie sets leading up to his diagnosis. ABC's Kaylee Hartung has the latest.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
New details from behind the scenes of Bruce Willis's battle with aphasia that for years had some in the film industry concerned for his well-being.
It was kind of an open secret that Bruce's cognitive abilities were in decline.
Willis's family revealing Wednesday that the actor's been diagnosed with aphasia, a symptom caused by an underlying neurological issue that can impact the ability to communicate. Patients can lose some ability to speak or understand, or both.
In recent months, he was struggling to, strike the right tone and deliver the lines. And
We heard that he just seemed lost sometimes on set.
Willis's last major motion picture, Glass, came out 3 years ago.
You think you have superpowers.
It's a feeling.
His name still in high demand in recent years, but the blockbuster action hero suddenly turning to lower-budget independent films, sometimes only appearing on screen for a few minutes.
He's just been putting out work at this prolific pace. We counted at least 22 in the last 4 years.
One of those films, 2021's Out of Death.
Throw your gun as far as you can. Throw it!
Where Mike Burns made his directorial debut.
Once you had Bruce on set, what did you observe about his condition?
His intuition for the lines is just amazing. But what I did see towards the end of the shoot as day turned to night was that he was having some trouble getting some lines out right. And we did have to repeat lines multiple times to get the performance out. And it seemed like there was something bigger going on.
People who've worked on other sets with Willis telling the LA Times he needed extra help to get through his shooting days.
He had an assistant on set who would basically deliver the lines to Bruce's earpiece, and he would then hear them and recite them back.
Still, Burns saying Bruce was very much in control on their most recent film together, set to release this summer.
Bruce has always been very happy on set, very jovial, cracking jokes, hanging out.
Kaylee Hartung, thank you. The UK version of The Office was Stephen Merchant's first shot at fame. He's also starred in hit films like Jojo Rabbit in 2019. With his work praised here and across the pond, Merchant is now a co-creator and star of the new series The Outlaws, streaming now on Prime Video. He sat down with ABC's Trevor Ault to discuss his new show, which follows a ragtag group bound together by their respective obligations to the legal system.
Stephen, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. Is it true that this is sort of loosely based, or the idea kind of germinated from what your parents did?
My parents, when I was growing up, we were involved in the community service world. You know, when someone gets a DUI or some other crime and they have to pick up garbage at the side of the freeway or renovate a building or whatever.
You have been tasked with restoring this into a community centre during clean-up duty. If you find a deceased animal over 10 kilos, do not touch it. Anything under 10 kilos, that is yours.
Can we keep it?
No, you may not.
And my parents were involved with that. They were not criminals, as far as we know. They only supervised offenders doing this. And my parents would talk about the kind of people that came through the door. And it was always such an unlikely mix of people. There would be like a businessman who got caught, as I say, drink driving, and then there'd be some kid from the wrong side of the tracks who'd done a bit of, low-level drug dealing. And these people would have to sort of literally work together. And that always seemed like an interesting idea, a backdrop for a show, because, with TV, with drama, you want characters to clash, sparks to fly. And that always seemed like an interesting universe to explore.
And now you've got this show with all sorts of sensibilities clashing together. I think it's interesting. I mean, you always want to ask when you're interviewing an actor or an actress, like, who their character is. In the trailer for your show, somebody says about your character, he's whatever the hell he is. So who is your character?
Well, I play a character called Greg, who is a lawyer who has made some big and poor life choices, which has meant that he's wound up on the wrong side of the law. He's loosely based on a couple of people I've known over the years, including a lawyer who you would think that a lawyer is not a job you just drift into, right? But the guy I know just sort of somehow one day woke up at middle age and thought, how did I become a lawyer? I'm not even very good at this job. And was joking with me that he did. He used to kind of use Wikipedia for a lot of his legal research. And I always thought that was an interesting idea of, like, how do you wind up in that position? And so much of the show is about how if any one of us made the wrong choice, or we just made a mistake here, or a bit of bad luck here, we could end up in a whole different pathway in our lives. And that hopefully, ultimately, the show is optimistic. It's about looking at people and saying, actually, instead of judging them, maybe I should try and understand them a little more, because I do think that, any one of us could wind up, in the situation that these characters are, if we just, if life dealt us a different hand.
There's this urban legend that if you want to get Bill Murray in your show, he has no email, you can't text him, you got to call a phone number and leave a voicemail, and maybe he'll get back to you. Christopher Walken isn't quite as difficult to reach, but it sounds like for you it was still kind of difficult. How were you able to track him down?
Christopher doesn't have email. He does not have a cell phone. He does have a landline phone, which I think doubles as a fax. So we somehow managed to fax him the script, which he read. And then I heard that he wanted to have a meeting. So I flew up to his house in Connecticut and I went there. And, you know, you're always slightly intimidated when you meet someone like that. It's not just a legend, but has also played a lot of gangsters. You're always slightly intimidated. But the first thing he said to me, and I apologize because I cannot do a Walken impression. First thing he said was, would you like some omelette? And I thought that put me at my ease. And so I ate omelette with Chris, and then we spoke for about 3 hours about the character, about the show, about the tone of it. And by the end of it, I mean, I was weak from hunger by sort of hour 3. I asked for some more omelette. And we ate omelette together, and we talked, and we hit it off. And he agreed to do the show. But yeah, there is a moment where you sort of wake up one day and you're back in your hometown shooting this show that's born out of your parents' experience, and you're there with the Oscar-winning star of The Deer Hunter, and you just think, how did this happen?
I mean, if there's one thing over here in the United States that British shows have a reputation for, or stereotypically are known for, it's that they don't overstay their welcome. You're already renewed for season 2. Does this thing maybe have some legs to go for a long run, you think, or is it play it by ear?
Well, we actually started shooting, and we were only going to do 1 season, and then lockdown hit, and then while we were, in lockdown, I wrote a whole second season. So when we came back, we could do 2 seasons back to back to sort of make up for lost time, and that was great because it allowed us to plant seeds in that first season that we could pay off in the second. And I think initially we were thinking that might be it, but we've started chewing the fat on a season 3, and we found that some really fun ideas and other places to take it. And I think, we've really fallen in love with the characters and this world. And I think in our original imagining, we thought, well, each new season would be a different set of offenders in a different town doing a different bunch of community service. But actually, we really like this world we've created, and we like these people, and we want to spend more time with them. So at the moment, I'm more than happy to keep going.
Stephen, it's great to get you over the internet, but this was an interview I especially would have loved to do in person because I'm also quite tall. I'm curious, so I think we would have had some real synergy in the framing of our interview. I'm curious, as someone on the other side of it, do you have any secret strategies that you'll utilize to try to minimize the height difference? I'll go like real wide stance.
Well, firstly, how tall are you?
I'm not as tall as you, I'm 6'4".
See, I remember when I was 6'4". That's a great height. That's a great height for a man. I would have happily stopped at 6'4". I think you've hit on something there. It's a terrific height. 6'7" is me. That's a little too tall. That's starting to get silly. The problem I find is I did a show called Extras, and I was in a scene with Robert De Niro. And when we cut to a 2-shot, it looks like it's a bad CGI job because I look so freakishly large in this tiny chair that I'm in. And Robert looks normal size. And to this day, people think it's a conspiracy that we were never in the same room. And it's like, I was in a scene with Robert De Niro. I swear to God, I was there.
That's hilarious.
So it's a problem.
I've had that with co-anchors where it was you do one show and it's like, nope, can't do that anymore.
It's not going to work.
Doesn't look real. Stephen, I really appreciate your time, and I know we can't wait to watch the show over here. Thanks for talking with us.
Appreciate it, man.
Looks great and funny. Trevor, thank you. We are also tracking several headlines around the world right now that we want to bring to you. Finally, some reprieve for the Australian East Coast as elevated water levels brought on by torrential rain began to recede. Tens of thousands of people had to leave their homes this week for the second time in a month after relentless rain triggered flash floods and rivers bursting their banks. The death toll from the rain that began early this week rose on Friday to 3 after a woman who had gone missing in the floodwater was found dead. More than 20,000 remain under evacuation orders. This week, Peruvian authorities released 39 rescued birds affected by that oil spill in mid-January. Before their release, all the birds went through medical and physical exams to ensure they were in good condition. More than 300 animals affected by the oil spill have been treated by veterinarians, volunteers, and experts at a zoo. Peru has called the oil spill the worst environmental disaster in recent memory. As Ramadan approaches, some Pakistanis already squeezed by inflation are feeling the pinch of rising prices. Ramadan this year comes amid a political crisis as the Pakistani prime minister faces a parliamentary no-confidence vote seeking to oust him from power. Barely just a few days to Ramadan, shopping was muted in markets across Islamabad. Pakistan is predominantly Muslim, where more than 90% of its more than 22 million people practice Islam. Now to the soldiers in Ukraine making the ultimate sacrifice, laying down their lives in defense of their country. ABC's Terry Moran is in Lviv, where this week he witnessed the final goodbyes for 3 fallen Ukrainian service members. And a note for you, the images are certainly powerful, but some may also find them difficult to watch.
Every day in Ukraine, there are funerals. Fallen warriors coming home. We were there as an honor guard of young soldiers carried 3 of their comrades down this narrow street to the old church where military funerals are held. Hundreds followed inside. A sung service, mournful and somber, the prayers chanted and incense offered over the dead. Each family stands beside their fallen son, grieving. One mother rests her hands on her boy's coffin, patting it gently, still comforting him, still mothering. Then the heroes are carried out shoulder high for their final journey. Outside, I ask Alexei, a friend of one of the soldiers, what sense he could make of this death, what it means.
He protected me, he protected my kids, he even protected you.
And here, the final farewells. The 3 soldiers are being laid to rest here in the town's military cemetery, beside the fresh graves of so many of their comrades. Dozens of Ukraine's defenders are here from this one city after just 5 weeks of war. Each coffin is draped with a Ukrainian flag, each flag then carefully folded and each presented to a family. A lone bugler sounds a call, a tribute to these men who laid down their lives for their country. Then one coffin is opened and a mother beholds her son, a last caress for her boy. His aunt, too, must say her goodbye. Families and friends hold each other. 3 open graves. The gravediggers lower the coffins one by one. Ukrainians put hands on hearts as a bugle and drum play their national anthem. A single rifle fires a salute into the leaden sky. A few words of prayer and praise for these soldiers. And the gravediggers get to work. The hundreds of mourners blanket all 3 graves with bouquets of flowers, many bright yellow and sky blue. 3 soldiers, 3 coffins. They made the ultimate sacrifice, their death a reminder here and everywhere of that terrible truth. Freedom is never free.
Such grief and misery. Terry Moran, thank you so much. And before we go tonight, the image of the day that proves even in the darkest of moments, love prevails. This is Vladimir waiting for his girlfriend, Irina. The 2 are National Guard soldiers who met and fell in love when they were mobilized a month ago. He surprised her, as you saw, with a bouquet of roses and a marriage proposal. And as you can see there, she said yes. That's our show for this hour. I'm Phil Lipoff. Stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks for streaming with us.